Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. Today I am bringing you the first in my Gothic junk journal series. So you might have seen me do my little flick through of this, and this is episode 1. So throughout the series you will see me make everything that comes in this journal, from the tags to the pockets to the dyeing of the paper. So this paper here is hand dyed myself, and that's what I'm doing in episode 1, is showing you the dyeing process of this paper. And then I have other episodes where I show you how I make belly bands and pockets, and this envelope tuck, this lovely vellum bag which is all cobwebby, and some I've already shared. This, but I will add it to the playlist. So I've created a playlist for my There is Magic in the Night Gothic journal, and I've seen this as well. I've already done this, but I will add it to the playlist. So those are the 2 features in this journal that I've already made. Everything else is yet to come. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed making this journal, and I hope you will be happy to come on the journey with me to the completion. So without any further ado, just carry on watching for me hand dyeing the paper. The paper and the stamp set and the beautiful vellum are all on the retirement list. They are still available. They might be low on stock. So if you want to replicate this, you need to get your order in, and there'll be links down below to my shop. And also, if you pop over to my blog, you'll have they'll all be listed there. Some things aren't retiring. There's a few like the dies that I use to make this edge, they're not, and the punch I use to make this tag is not, but the paper is, and the stamp set and die set that I used in the creation of these are. So yeah, getting quick. Treat yourself. Christmas might not arrive before Christmas now, but worth a try. Okay. So I wanted to create a Blackberry Bliss background on this, so I'm using the sponge brayer to do this. You could use those makeup blending brushes, but I'd already done a project where I'd used this sponge brayer on Blackberry Bliss, so it was already coloured for it. So I thought I'll just use it. So I'm just inking it up, keep going in the same direction, because if you do that, you're just going over one bit. So keep going. I do end up with lots of ink on there, and then I'm just running it up and down, and sort of building up the colour across the page. And this was what I wanted to do. As soon as I saw this paper, I was like, oh, gonna put Blackberry Bliss on that, and then it will be perfect then in my journal, because I did want a bit more purple in it. I don't quite know what that is. Oh well, get rid. And you can make it darker or lighter So that's quite light there. It's much darker over there. You can give it a sort of an ombre effect, or you can just keep adding to it. And you can go back over in the different direction. Get more colour. And I will be doing this to the other floral page as well. And the lovely sort of printed one that's got cobwebs and things on. And I just think that's a really nice look. There's a couple of places where I think, oh, I want a deeper colour. There, for instance. Bit down the edge there. Could of course choose any colour you want. I just want Blackberry Bliss. Might do one in Pretty Peacock as well. Maybe. So there we have it. So that is, and I've got a dry baby wipe here, which is not proving that effective on cleaning this off, is it? Oh dear. I'm not that precious. See my room? There we go. So let's compare it to one that hasn't been done. So there. That's your before and that's your after. I really like that, and I'm probably going to colour this one as well. I might do one in Blackberry Bliss and one in Pretty Peacock, actually, and I'll do that one as well because we've got this lovely Pretty Peacock, so actually having some Pretty Peacock might be quite nice as well. And then we've got that lovely Cajun Craze as well. So yes, so I need to dye these other pages and then we'll be ready for putting our signatures together. So I just wanted to sort of show you basically how I did the one, and then I won't bore you with all the others. But, oh, how beautiful. Love it. So that's the DSP pages sorted. So now I was making some sheets of ordinary copier paper into paper for my signatures, and these are one that I've made already. So I've made these. So it's normal copier paper. I have used acid-free paper, which kind of helps if you're putting photographs in it and you want it to last a long time. These ones I've used Pretty Peacock and Memento Black. This one I added a bit of Cajun Craze to it because we've got some Cajun Craze. This one I was going for just the sort of the grey black look, and I did put a little bit of grey granite in it as well. This one I sort of, the grey granite got sort of watered down. Now there's quite a lot of white in it, but I can brayer over that with colour, so I'm not worried about that. And I will show you how I created these different effects. I did some wiping, so I've used baby wipes on this. Wasn't sure if I like the wiping, so I may not use them. This was baby wipes that I'd splodged and then just stuck it on, and I'm left with these dots. Jury's out on them as well. I prefer it when it's this sort of thing. Now this one I've gone over with the brayer to fill in the white bits. You see on that side there, there's still white there, but I've sort of coloured those bits in by just dipping it in the ink and running it over in the same way as I did the DSP. So I prefer this sort of look to the others. Now I did them in 2 different ways, so I will show you how I did them. So I'm going to get rid of my grid paper, and so I've got my glass mats. Now there'll be a reflection there of the circle, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I've got, this is just ordinary, it's like 90 GSM. It does get wet, and I really like the way the paper sounds once it's dry. So that's just ordinary paper, and then you've got more of a crinkle when it's been wet and then dried, I find. So I did do some with re-inkers, but I don't have the re-inkers for Cajun Craze and Pretty Peacock. So I just used the stamp pads on my glass mat. Just put them down a bit. Just randomly over the glass mat. Be careful not to contaminate the glass mat. And then a little bit of black. I did sort of add a bit of re-inker, but I just want a little bit of this in places. And then I've got a spray bottle of water, which now I can't see. I had it 2 secs ago. Oh, it's fallen over, that's why I can't see it. So this is just an old stamping mist, and I just give it lots and lots of water so that that ink starts to move about, so that we're not having splodges. And I'm not wearing my gloves, which is stupid because I got in the right state with my hands, but hey ho, I've not got them, so that's it. So then I just take a piece of paper, and you can just stick it down on the water, and you get kind of a nice sort of pattern on your page. And then turn it over and do the other side, and this is where you end up with ink all over yourself, which is why I used gloves the second time I did it. So just go to places where we've got ink, and I say if you're left with white bits, it doesn't matter because you can go over them with a brayer afterwards. It does get a bit muddy in places, but that's how I sort of picked the water up. I'm gonna get a bit on there, well, you know, the colour up, not the water up. So there we are. So then that I'll just leave to dry. It's quite chilly at the moment, so we've got the heating on, so that won't take long at all to dry. And then I'm going to move this out the way, and then sort of come along with another piece and just sort of mop up what's left. It's really a sort of a one sheet. You don't really get much more than one sheet with this method, as in both sides. But waste not, want not. I'll get that up, but that's not really finished. So that's that way of doing it. Now another way of doing it is add this again in the same way. Bit of black. And then what I did is, it's kind of a version of the baby wipe technique, but instead of, so normally you like drop re-inkers on it, but what I did was I laid my baby wipe on top of the ink. So we could pick up the ink. This is why you need gloves, because ink transfers from the baby wipes onto your hands really badly. Right, so I'm trying to keep the colours sort of separate on my baby wipe and not mix them too much. Right, and then what I did was I sort of scrunched it up and then just went over a bit of paper, moved it about so we got different colours, picked up a bit more ink if I needed to, and then colours we'll be picking up on the other side as well whilst we're doing this, because there's ink underneath. So sometimes do like a tick effect, sometimes I might do a little twist, and you can see keep going round. And that colour picking up nicely. And we can add a bit to that, so we've got quite a different effect on the back side of this. But it all adds to the loveliness of how the paper might turn out. Right. I think that one has a bit more blue in there. And you can add a bit of water to it. Move those inks a bit more. And then there's inks on there, so you can just put that down to pick up a bit more. It's down there just to add another little effect to it. And let's see if we can get one more out of this. Stay in my hands. Now we can always add a bit more ink. Almost like little rose patterns there with the twisting. And I'm saying you can then go over with a brayer to fill in the white bits. And it's just to create a nice sort of page where you can do some journaling, add some photos, and gives it a nice sort of contrast to the and I did sort of, so I'd set my timer then to give me a 5-minute warning about my dinner, but I think I've got time. Just finish this little bit. So there, I will add a bit more in those white gaps, and I can brayer over them when I want to. And then what I did was I scanned them, so if there was sheets I particularly liked, I can redo them. Oh, that's lovely. So yeah, that was kind of what I did there to create lots and lots of different pages. It's just normally a coffee dye, just wanted to do something else. I say that one was sort of wiping over, but I didn't really particularly like that much in the end. So there we have it. I shall leave these to dry and we'll get on. So left them to dry, and this is how they've turned out. So that was the one where I just ran it over the glass mat that was covered in ink, and that was the other side. So I've used, like, that was the first print, and then that was the second print, and then I did a bit of putting that over the mat, didn't I? And then I added with the baby wipe, and that is all the baby wipe, and that is all the way back. And you can see where I've twisted. They've got a little bit of a flower look about them, I think. That side less so. Now they're quite light. I did a bit of dragging over the edges there to give a sort of an aged sort of edge look, but I feel that the papers that I'm going to be using them with are got quite a lot of sort of black in it, so I felt that they possibly needed. So if we look, that I'm probably going to colour that. Looks okay as that there. That's got a bit of Pretty Peacock, so I might put some Pretty Peacock in that one. And then we've got the one that's that one's got quite a bit of black in it. Well, it is, it's just terracotta tile and black, so I think it needs darkening up. And then there's the one with the flowers. That's beautiful. I just think that with that sheet looks lovely. And I can put some terracotta tile on, not terracotta tile, Cajun craze on for an accent. Now, where's that lovely one with the flowers? Can't find it. It's on the back of that one, isn't it? There we go. So that one, it's got quite a lot of black, and it's also got Blackberry Bliss as well as the Pretty Peacock. So I think it needs a bit of darkness in there that's quite light to go with this. So I was just thinking of how I could add a bit of dark to it, and I quite like this sort of look here, so I had a little bit of an experiment. You might see there on my stamp mat how I've sort of been doing that. So I've got some black ink. I've got Memento black ink there, and I've got some acrylic blocks. So I just had this idea of just dipping it in, and you don't get masses on your stamp pad. You do if you go like that, you do get masses like that, and then you just get like these. Don't really want the edges like that. I want that effect. So just stamping it across, and then just going across like that to add a bit of black on it like that. And this is several sheets of sort of, oh, went over that too. So these are sheets of that one's got a gem on there, that's giving it a bit of a, so these are sort of old scrap paper. So when I do my nice crisp filming, and some of them, they get bits stuck to them, so when they're no good for wanting it clean for a film, I just put these, we're at my actual desk, not my filming desk, and so it gets a bit bumpy, so it's quite a nice little background, so it's picking up different sort of edges. So I'm quite liking the look of that, to add a bit of black. I've got some stamps to do some edges with, which I think I might sort of introduce to it, but when I put the page together, I as yet don't know what's going on the page, so I thought some of the embellishment I will do afterwards and decide which colour to sort of ink over. So if I wanted to have a bit of a extra Pretty Peacock or extra Cajun craze, then I could use sort of my brushes to sort of brush that on, and but I need to have the album sort of putting together to know how I want to sort of do that. But it was just sort of a nice quick way of adding a little bit of texture to the paper with stuff that you've probably got hanging around. Look at me getting all inky again. So most of us have got acrylic blocks for stamping, so and if you haven't, then you know, anything with a smooth surface to sort of go across it. So just thought I'd show you that. So here's all of the papers that I've dyed, and I've probably dyed far more than I want to use, and what I'll be doing is, like I would with copy paper, is just fold them all in half to create my signatures. So we're going to have like an A5 album, and which is a good size. So these white spaces I will fill with inking once I decide on where pages are going. And I might find that I need to dye another sheet as I go along because the colour mix isn't quite right. So that's the sort of thing I'm doing, and I'm going to do some sort of adding different bits to it. So I'll be picking out the paper from the paper pack that I'm going to use to have pages in between these pages, and they're quite busy. I wanted something sort of quite bright, and so I can stick sort of photos and memories on it, and I'll be making spots for journaling, either tags or just sort of hidden things, because I don't actually like my handwriting. So I'm sort of imagining having nice pictures on there with die cut words or stamped words, or words that I've printed on the computer and sort of stuck on, and then things hidden in pockets on the paper. So I'm going to cut my 12 by 12 sheets down. So that's the first one that I dyed, and so it's 8 1/4 tall. So I'm going to cut them all down to 8 1/4. I'm going to keep them at 12 by 12, 12 wide, because as you add, the middle ones protrude a bit, so they will be sort of trimmed down. So I might trim them down, or I did have the thought of actually making it slightly wider and just adding edges to some of these and getting them even that way. But I'm hoping that the album sort of speaks to me as I go through. So look at that. That looks really good together. So I would darken these edges possibly with a bit of black to make that look fine. And some of these papers where I was like, oh, I'm not sure about, actually, with that black on it, that looks lovely. And with those splodges, which I thought, I don't really like it, goes really well with those flowers. There's some other bits with splodges on, so that goes quite nice. So I could actually just ink some Blackberry Bliss over that, and it would be nice. So I'm gonna cut and carry on dyeing the sheets of this that I want to dye, and then I'll bring you back with the signatures and the papers that I've chosen. So I have gathered my signatures together. So I've cut down my 12 by 12s. I've just used 6 sheets, so I've got these strips left. So I cut it 8 1/4 and left it at 12 inches wide, and there's that bit. I've used that for other things. So I've got these left to create pockets, tags, whatever I want. So I'll show you what I've done. I've created 2 signatures. I may do a third, I'm not sure. So there's 3 of these sheets in each, and then some of my dyed paper that I did. They're not sewn in. I won't sew them in until I sew them onto the signature, but I quite like the way that looked. I may darken this down. I may add pockets to it. I mean, that's the sheet that it's come from, so I could match it up with a pocket from this, or I could make a tag on it. I could do it that side. I could use a completely different sheet of paper, whatever I wanted. I could bring in this one here and make a tag with that, which is quite nice. Okay, and then I've used this sort of plainer colour as well to go with this page there, and I really like the fact that I've got this on the other side to go with this sheet here, and I really like the way they look together. And I'll probably colour this with some pretty peacock. I think that will look nice against that, but I thought I'd put it together and then decide. Love the way they look together. I will probably sponge some Blackberry Bliss in these whiter bits so that it really does show nice. Then we've got that middle page, so that will get decorated with some paper. I might add that to it. I might add that to it. Not decided yet. If I'd use this, it will be coloured. So I have a choice of what I want to do. I've also got this beautiful colour as well. So they go so well together because I've used the same inks. So that's the other side now. We're working our way backwards, and again, I'd probably colour that in Pretty Peacock, and then it goes to both sides. So that's that. I've added a few bits to this one, which I will show you how I make to go in here. One that I've already done a tutorial on, actually. So I'll probably dye this, but I haven't decided. I might do Pretty Peacock. Love that page there. Really goes well. I think that goes well. I could go over this and make those Pretty Peacock bats, which I think might look pretty special. Love how that looks. Might just leave it as that and not add any colour. That needs something on it, I think, a pocket of some sort. Now this is what I'm going to show. I'm going to show you how I made that. And then this I've already done a tutorial on. It's only held in with paper clips at the moment till I decide what I'm gonna do with it. But that is sort of designed to go on that page there somewhere, and I'll probably create another pocket once it's stuck down. And then we're going back the other side with these. So that is my two signatures. So there's like 24 sheets back and front in each signature, so that's sort of 48, which I think is quite a nice little size. I might do a third because I've only used half a pack of paper so far, and I've got all these bits to do. So yeah, it's taking shape. So I will be showing you how I made the spiderweb pocket in the next, well, it's a little bag, in the next video. Okay, so hope you join me then. I will create a playlist with my Gothic junk journal, and you'll be able to sort of follow all the videos, and I'll probably put in the playlist this as well, so that they're all in one place. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this series. I'm going to enjoy making it, and I will be back next time with another video in this series.